morning, Evan here. We want to welcome back the 6th graders into the building that are now coming in person. 7th and 8th graders, you'll be coming back March 22nd. Last week's riddle was, my name is positive, but sometimes I let people down. And the answer is, an elevator. Here's another riddle from Isabel Mendez. What can travel around the world but stays in one corner? Thank you, Isabel.
Monday. All grades will be starting the hybrid schedule. Please remember that all grades will Zoom with their classes in the normal schedule starting at 8:05 a.m. and go until 10:45. Then, 6th graders in Cohort A, both in-person and remote learning, will be in their 1st, 2nd, and 3rd period classes on Mondays, 4th, 5th, and 6th periods on Thursdays in the afternoon. Afternoon classes begin at 12:10 and go to 3:20.
Those in Cohort B, both in-person and remote learning, will be in their 1st, 2nd, and 3rd period classes on Tuesdays, 4th, 5th, and 6th periods on Friday, even if you are not coming into school in person.
Wednesdays will be our advisory from 10:15 to 11:15. You won't want to miss advisory because we'll be doing character strong lessons, equality lessons, and watch the Mustang message all on this day. Advisory is for all students via Zoom.
Hey, check these crazy socks out. Today is Crazy Sock Day, so show it off right now and have your teacher take a screenshot. Remember, send your screenshot to Mrs. Fierro at jfierro@osd.wednet.edu. Next Friday is Sports Day, so show off your favorite sports team. Teams can be the sports teams you belong to, high school, college, or professional.
Here's some Mustangs celebrating birthdays this week. Callie Bingham, Mason Bodden, Jade Farrell, Winnowa Hermstead, Achiana Johnson, Parker Mondo, Yadam Rivera Cruz, Custodian Tim, and Para Miss Lisa. Last week we forgot to wish happy birthday to Miss Baldwin, our attending secretary, so happy birthday to her. Happy birthday, everyone!
Good morning, Thurgood Marshall Mustangs, and welcome back to the Cornwall Connection. Today, we'll be talking about female athletes who have made history throughout the time.
There are many female athletes in the world, but Black female athletes like Venus Williams, Serena Williams, Gabby Douglas, Simone Biles, and many more are extraordinary examples of Black female athletes who are paving the way for future generations right now with their amazing accomplishments.
But they didn't just become great athletes all on their own. They had to work hard, train hard, and have perseverance. Like many other extraordinary women that came before them, athletes like Althea Neal Gibson.
Althea Neal Gibson was an American tennis player, a professional golfer, and one of the first Black athletes to cross the color line of international tennis. She was the first Black player to win French 1956, Wimbledon 1957, and U.S. Open 1957-58 singles championships. She had won 56 singles and doubles titles.
In 1936, track runners Louis Stokes and Tide Pickett were the first African-American women to represent their country in the Olympics. In 1929, they qualified but were not allowed to participate because of their race.
Almost a decade after that, Alice Coachman was the first Black woman from any country to win an Olympic gold medal in track and field, setting records with her high jump at the 1948 Olympics in London.
In honor of International Women's Day, which was celebrated last Monday on March 8th, Nike released a short film called We Play Real to highlight and empower Black women in sports. The minute-long video is narrated by actress and playwright Dominique Fishback and highlights several WNBA players such as Aja Wilson and Diamond DeShields. The video also highlights champion tennis players Serena Williams and Naomi Osaka, as well as many other extraordinary athletes. You can check out this amazing video on YouTube.
Serena Williams is an all-star tennis player and former number one in singles women's professional tennis. Her sister, Venus Williams, is also a great tennis player who made it a little easier for Serena to succeed in tennis. In 1999, at age 17, Serena Williams became only the second African-American woman in history to win a Grand Slam title. Her list of achievements, awards, and Olympic gold medals takes up 12 pages on Wikipedia.
But it's not just Black athletes making history. Old and new generations of BIPOC athletes are normalizing women in sports.
Ishita Malavia is the first and only female Indian professional surfer. She began surfing in 2007, and since then she has changed her country's perception of the ocean. Many people in India, especially fishermen, looked at the ocean as a place of hard work rather than a place that they could have fun. To shift this attitude, Malavia, along with her partner Tushan Pathian, created the Shaka Surfer Club to teach people of all ages how to surf. Malavia also worked with the local government and other organizations to establish the NIPPERS program to train children to become junior lifeguards.
Our voices and our bodies are powerful tools we can use to change the world, even when the world sometimes tries to tell us we aren't enough, like disabled athletes. They might not get the same attention as able-bodied athletes, but they definitely deserve your attention because their stories are often as massively impressive as their achievements. For example, Yu Chi-yi, born in Hong Kong, is one of the most elite Paralympians China has ever produced, specializing in wheelchair fencing. After surviving bone cancer at the age of 13 with a partially amputated leg, she's been taking the sports by storm of years, racking up a whopping 7 gold medals in various Paralympics, plus a few silvers and bronzes just to vary things a bit.
There's Zara Nemati. Before the car accident that left her paralyzed from the waist down, Nemati was a championship Taekwondo black belt, but her spinal injury did not stop her. After only 6 months of training, Nemati changed sports directions to be the first Iranian woman ever, able-bodied or not, to win the gold medal in the 2012 Olympics for archery from her wheelchair alongside the other able-bodied competitors.
Then there's Tereziana Guillermina. She's considered the fastest woman alive and she's nearly blind. When Usain Bolt, the fastest man in the world, wants to run with you as your guide and has faith you're going to keep up with him, you know you're one of the fastest women alive. Tereziana Guillermina can run 100 meters in 12 seconds and requires her guide to do it because she happens to be nearly blind. The Brazilian won swaths of gold medals and 10 world championship golds as well, and has dominated her sport for an entire decade. She also loves to decorate her blindfold with ornate designs so that she stands out, just in case you can't see her in front of the dust storm she kicks up in her wake.
You don't have to be a famous athlete who has already made it big to be a sports activist and role model for future generations. Take local teen Rosalie Fish, for example. This Washington State teen was the most recognizable track athlete of the 2019 State Track Championships. Not only did she win 3 gold medals, a silver medal, and a sportsmanship award, she ran with a purpose. A red handprint covered Fish's face, and the letters MMIW were painted on her right leg to raise awareness for missing and murdered Indigenous women. Rosalie Fish, a member of the Cowlitz tribe, chose to wear the handprint over her mouth to bring awareness around and support for the countless Native women who are victims of violence, killed, or missing and rarely ever searched for or reported by officials on and off reservations. Seattle Times referred to these cases as an epidemic on reservations across America. So when Fish won the 400-meter final, it was for Misty Ann Upham. Or when she won the 600-meter final, it was for Alice Looney. Or the 800 for Jacqueline Salyers. Or the 3200 for Renee Davis and Davis's unborn child. All were Indigenous women from Washington who met a violent end. All were honored on a poster Fish brought to the state meet.
This definitely isn't to brag, but before COVID hit last year, Thurgood Marshall's 8th grade girls basketball team celebrated their second undefeated season in a row. I wonder what other amazing feats of athletic ability we'll be able to see from you and future Mustangs at Thurgood Marshall Middle School.
Hi, Jones There Distant here. And a couple weeks ago, I had the pleasure of interviewing Miss Huff for this week's episode of the Mustang News. Let's see how it went. All right. So I've got some questions for you.
Perfect. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. So the first one is, how long have you been teaching at Marshall?
I got hired at Marshall in 1999, so
Wow.
That's a long time. I did get moved over to Jefferson for 2 years, and then I got to come back to Marshall, and I've been there ever since.
Nice. Did you like Jefferson, or is Marshall better?
Well, I've been at Marshall for this whole time, so that should give you an idea of how much I love working at Thurgood Marshall.
Yeah. What do you like to do when you're not teaching?
Oh my goodness, lots of things. I spend a lot of time following my kids around. So I sit in a gym and watch my daughter play volleyball. I sit in bleachers and watch my son play baseball. For myself, I like to create things. So I work on puzzles, I sew, I crochet. I like to exercise, so whether that's running on the treadmill or going on the spin bike. And I like to spend time with my dogs. So,
Has any of that changed during the pandemic?
yes. No volleyball, no baseball, limited baseball in the summer and fall. And the flip side of that is I've spent a lot of time sewing and crocheting and working on puzzles.
Did you know you wanted to be a teacher when you were a kid?
Oh my goodness. I've kind of always had jobs that have worked with kids. I think I was 12 or 13, maybe 14 when I worked at my aunt's daycare during the summers, like for 3 years. And then in high school, I had a job working for AmeriCorps, running a summer youth program at a local park. I originally was going into education to be a counselor. I wanted to be a school counselor. But I did an informational interview with a superintendent, and he told me, get your teaching certificate first, because counseling positions are often cut first. And so like when there's job shortages. So I was getting my teaching certificate to move on to that. And I just love teaching.
So that pretty much answers the next question is, what did you want to do before? What did you do before you went into teaching? You've kind of always been a teacher.
I do have to say, when I first moved to Olympia, I worked for the Parks and Rec, the Olympia Parks and Rec department. And part of my job was keeping score at like the adult basketball games and volleyball games and stuff like that. But before COVID, at the middle schools, we had these things called activity nights. And I used to actually work at the activity nights. I'd worked at Thurgood Marshall before I actually was a teacher, because I would work the activity nights. So it's really almost cool. Like it was meant to be for me to end up working at Thurgood Marshall.
Here's a fun one. If you could join a current or past music group, who would you join and why?
Oh my goodness, current or past music group? I would have to go with Alanis Morissette. I feel like she really has spoken to me. Her music is inspirational and kind of edgy, and also fun at the same time.
What's the farthest you've ever been from home?
Oh my goodness, I'm so glad you asked that question. So I can't remember the year. I don't know. So maybe 6 or 8 years ago. I went to Greece to run the Authentic Marathon that Phidippides ran. And so I would say that's probably the farthest from home I've ever been.
How long was the run?
A marathon, which is 26.2 miles. But I have to tell you what I learned in this training to run this marathon. Phidippides actually only ran like 22 point something miles to tell his people the war was over. But when the people were planning this first marathon, they wanted to add some other scenic places. And, one would think, oh, what's the difference between running 22 miles versus 26 miles? There's a big difference, because those last 4 miles are not fun.
That's interesting. Is there anything you wish would come back into fashion?
Anything I wish would come back into fashion. I am really, those of you that know me know I'm not really into fashion much anyway. So let me think back. I'm not sure that clogs ever were in fashion, but I like wearing clogs, so maybe those.
And here's a good one to end with. What's the most heartwarming thing you've ever seen?
This is tough because there's lots of heartwarming things. I think as a teacher, anything, anytime when students are helpful to other students, that's heartwarming to me. And that happens all the time. It happens on a regular basis in school if you look hard enough. I actually was also thinking about during this COVID time, I'm in a running group, and one of the runners was doing the Ironman. And so I was tuning into that to watch him and support him in that. And it just this year was the first time that a person with Down syndrome has ever participated or possibly finished an Ironman. And that was really heartwarming to see all the people along the route that were there to support him and really just help him get to that next level. So that was pretty heartwarming.
Yeah, that's great. All right, well, that's all the questions we've got for you. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jones. It was fun sitting down with you.
Thank you for tuning into another edition of Mustang Message. Remember to be compassionate and kind here at Thurgood Marshall, where everyone belongs, everyone learns, and everyone